Agriculture, Uganda's main economic activity, has 80% of the country's 34 million people directly depending on it for survival, and much of the farming is carried out by women, smallholder farmers. Despite its key role in the country's economic growth, the sector remains poorly funded, with limited or no participation in policy development processes and implementation. In fact, the sector only receives less than 5% of the national budget, which scarce funding hardly reaches the rural farmers who need it most.
I know it's very, very little that goes to agriculture. But again, when that, right from the center, first of all, allocation is biased. Because when we talk about allocation, center takes about 70%. Districts take about 30%. But even that 30, what reaches us here is about 70%, which is a very big gap.
If majority of your population depends on agriculture or are connected to agriculture in one way or another, it is important that there is public investments in that sector. So we look at the investment in agriculture as an important priority for the government, almost in the same way we talk about public goods, like air, like road, like security, because that is where majority of Ugandans are.
The main reason we wanted was to tell the government that it must spend where it is getting most of the money from, that it must feed the cow that it gets milk from. So our campaign was on first, farmers must be recognized, farmers must be given the right inputs, farmers must be educated around the best practices in agriculture, and farmers must be treated well in terms of when they're paying their taxes. And that's what the campaign was all about, the recognition of the farmer so that they can get the right inputs so that they can be able to grow.
In a bid to get to the bottom of the matter, in 2010, ActionAid carried out a study, and the findings revealed that 30% of the budgetary allocation is usually unspent, while more than 30% goes missing. The study also noted that it's these gaping loopholes that cast farmers further into poverty, with hardly any extension services, credit facilities, and agricultural inputs. With these facts at hand, ActionAid set out to reverse the trend through a multi-country project to advocate for the quality and quantity of public investment in agriculture.
In the case of Africa, it actually estimates that GDP induced from agriculture spending and agricultural growth can contribute up to 11 times what other sectors like industry services contribute. So it's actually a correct investment destination for multiplier effect. So that really is the third reason we think public financing for agriculture must increase, and the reason why we run this particular project.
Because the women were so shy, they were so timid, they would say, even I, a woman, how can I go to the sub-county headquarters, or how do I go and demand from my leader? But now they're really bold, and they can really face their leaders without being shy and timid. That's one of them. And then also we have women, especially those under the community facilitators, what we call DAB-TAG and sub-TAG. They are able to go as women, to go to the district to demand to know the budgetary allocations for agriculture to the district for that year. They can go to sub-county staff and ask how much money was given for agriculture this year. And now the leaders are able to know that these women are part of the community, and they give them the information that they need.
Our farmers to come out strongly and demand for their share of the national cake. ActionAid teamed up with TESO Anti-Corruption Coalition, TAC, in Katakwi, and Paconet, Palisa Civil Society Network, in the districts of Budaka, Chibuku, and Palisa, in a 3-year project dubbed Public Financing for Agriculture. The hope is to get the attention of policymakers and duty bearers at the national, regional, and international levels, and to inform planning, budgeting, and programming at all levels. Action was mainly hinged on the desire to see smallholder farmers acquire budget analysis and social accountability skills. With these skills, they would then take on their leaders in the quest for better agriculture services, accountability, and inclusion in the budgetary process.
In the 4 districts where we have implemented this particular initiative, we have seen dramatic increases in allocation at district level and at sub-county level to agriculture. So it is actually possible. We have seen women whose enterprise, whose empowerment, whose livelihoods have improved to a magnitude in which we couldn't have envisaged before. There is no way we can give up on that.
It is almost 3 years down the road, and the fruits of the public financing for agriculture are evident. It is harvest time in Budaka district, and most farmers' yields are not disappointing. Zablans Guaida is one of the many beneficiaries of the PFA training in Nakatende village. PFA empowered her to demand for her rights. She went to NADS to demand for improved seeds, and today she is a proud farmer whose store is always full season in, season out.
PFA etukoleire tuwaire magezi PFA etuwaire magezi abakala okola niki mu bibiina so no kwemalirira muntu nokola ekyo okola niki esokere kutuwa kwebisira ne ukoba anti no baba oba yabere munasafu omuni bako akabula katono okayane era nze nakubire kwa nempaka nkanti ngakiti omukole mutya muleke mbere mwawo kale yatuyizire kutwongera mu bibiina niki manina magezi.
She was also taught on how to maximize profit by avoiding middlemen. Like many other trainees of PFA in this village, she now dries and stores her produce until the prices are favorable.
Kine kibine kizire kikoba nti bali kuba iba muli menge bintu yanyimukola niki ne msitokinga baiza baba gula ku kala ati antuli kwabira kuki ku kibine ekyo ekyatuwaira magezi ago nenga twazwireyo ino.
With improved income, she's now able to educate her children as well as buy livestock to supplement her earning.
PFA kyetuyambire kubanga twalinga tuli nyuma ino tinze nabe balya nti bebale ino okwiza okutuyamba iswe kubanga tona twali tuli gansi ino naye ati anu twabirenga ati antugunjuka zene gyendi ati anu netumulira era kyemba ntakire nesalirawo.
While many farmers in many parts of Uganda were falling prey to some NADS corrupt officials, in Chibuku, Budaka and Palisa, farmers were alert. They quickly used their knowledge in budget tracking to get value for money. Most households stood their ground until better seeds and livestock were delivered.
Noli.
Many households are now flourishing, a trend they associate with the coming of the PFA program.
PFA yatuwa empowering bulungi nnyo era kati amagezi tulina eda tetwagendanga netwogera oba mu nkiiko ng'abantu batudde nga tutya nga tulina ensonyi naye kati tetulina nsonyi.
The benefits of public financing for agriculture project have since had a spillover effect. Armed with budget tracking skills, many smallholder farmers are now directly involved in demanding and deciding on key funding priorities in their areas. It is through such advocacy that they were able to get this community in Palisa's Gogonyo village a borehole.
they are about to 3 boreholes, which they have been just being allocated here, but you find even that they cite even the place, but it just disappears. But when PFA came and the community became sensitized, we came to know our rights, our power, and we were empowered. People said no. We really thank PACONET and Action Aid for at least supporting us, because if people were not empowered, if people didn't know their rights, in fact, this borehole also we're going to miss it. That's why we are very happy.
They have also gone as far as demanding for better roads to transport their produce to the markets. The farmers oftentimes attend council meetings to see to it that such projects do not die a natural death. In Chibuku, smallholder farmers too are proactive. This access road in Oblanga was fixed after farmers called for action.
Omusomo gwa PFA nga buli muntu aguwena mu muganyulo era nga gutegeire nti kaisi batuwerera niki esente okuzo mu center nga batubbe anti batekera mu budget naye nga tibalulima batubbe anti batekera mu budget naye nga tibakola ki tibalima ati anu lwale lumo twakwigombola tubawulya lwakiiso oluguudo lwaisu muteko muki mu budget okusinzira otwekala kasire twabira okwekanga nga so na batuyiriyo ku budget era okusooka okulima sookere kulima luguudo nno.
Since its inception, PFA has ensured that many smallholder farmers are empowered with a voice to check government programs. Sometimes their efforts have paid off, leading to sacking of corrupt officials. A case in point is Chituti Primary School.
Ora sookere kwekala kasira ku isomero Chituti Primary School. Twabira okwekanga nga iso abataka ne management okwakubuulya head teacher ya Bairo esente gikwata okuyisomero o UPE inge sente jagikozesere inge isomero tilikozesere inge yo muntu niyakole niki akozesere nga bantu tinya bakozesere ne isomero twekala kasa kusinzira okumusomo gubakole niki ogubasomero gwa PFA inte sente gizom center giwindikiye no government egizom government giwindikiwe no okuma institutions gibaja abantu era paka saa wenu head teacher oyo head teacher gondi.
Farmers are also involved in supervising school building projects to stem graft. Still in eastern Uganda, ActionAid teamed up with Teso Anti-Corruption Coalition to advance PFA in Katakwi. And after empowering several farmers, the results are now evident. Demanding and receiving government inputs like livestock and improved seeds is seeing many agricultural households stamp poverty out.
We are seeing a big impact of this project basically on the smallholder women who have actually appreciated it, and their voices have been amplified under this, and we are seeing more opportunities arising from them. And they are actually now surpassing the men who culturally have been thought to be the major beneficiaries to most of the agricultural programs that come within the district.
The last 3 years, we've seen smallholder farmers go from being passive to forming groups that have enabled most of them to get benefits from NADS. If you look into these communities now, you'll find people who are able to say, 3 years ago, I didn't know about how I could get a goat, or how I could get a sheep, or I could get improved granules. But now, most of them said when TAC came and gave us this knowledge about PFA, we were able to form a group and we benefited. Through the public financing for agriculture, the attitude of those duty bearers has changed out of increased engagement with their communities, the smallholder farmers that we are working with. So that has been able to form an attitude where now you'll find a sub-county chief or an LC3 or an elected councillor, a district chairperson is able to sit down with smallholder farmers to explain why a particular decision was taken the way that it was taken.
A case in point is Jen Asiu from Magoro, Katakwi. With a handful of chicken from nuts, she was able to grow her farm and use the proceeds to shift to cows.
I think the future will be okay because it has helped us. Like me, I was down here. I could not even have even one thing to do, but since I started with the pantry, I am now seeing the situation is moving because I can now plow with my oxes, which I benefited under poultry. After me selling my chicken, then I bought an ox plow and oxen. I'm now plowing with, other than me going waiting to others begging. We have our last child. She's schooling in a boarding school, so I can now getting some money for her school fees even.
As a young female farmer, she's proud of her healthy cows. She's also diversified into orange growing.
There are many even here.
She attributes her success to PFA's training in both farming and knowledge to demand for the best inputs from government. Atim Bena also hails from Kapujan, Katakwi. Together with other locals, they have been able to track budget spending in the district, as well as ensure that farmers' interests are protected. This kind of zeal that has seen them supervise under Agricultural Livelihood Recovery Project to the letter.
After getting a lot of trainings, I became empowered. From there, I happened to become one of the members in this society here. So they brought for us fake contractors. We found that the one of the corners was not exactly good. It was not made good. So we ordered this man, the foreman, to make the corner to be broken. After breaking, they again made it. After we saw again, we found that it was not good. The thing was broken 6 times. Now from there, we happened to come to the site here, monitoring whatever material they bring. We make sure we first of all see the material after putting in place. Though it is a timber or whatever it is written in the BOQs.
Besides monitoring public projects, smallholder farmers now have better inputs and produce. Most of them are now aware of the prices they can fetch from the markets and oftentimes store their produce for better proceeds. With household poverty reducing and PFA's consistent training, some farmers are going an extra mile to try out new technology. Grace Alungat from Torama, Katakwi, now uses cow dung biogas to light her lantern. Besides the lighting, her farm has also improved and has since extended into a mixed farm, growing oranges and rearing pigs. Grace believes PFA came along with a holistic approach to improving on the lives of small household farmers like her.
In the 4 districts where we have implemented this particular initiative, we have seen dramatic increases in allocation at district level and at sub-county level to agriculture. So it is actually possible. We have seen women whose enterprise, whose empowerment, whose livelihoods have improved to a magnitude in which we couldn't have envisaged before. There is no way we can give up on that.
At a national level, PFA project was critical of the proposed tax of agricultural inputs in the year 2014-2015 budget. 27th July 2014, civil society, farmers and some members of parliament launched a campaign to collect 1 million signatures to petition the Speaker of Parliament of Uganda and the entire parliament to withdraw the proposal of taxes on agricultural inputs, including pesticides and fertilizers, among others. And the efforts did make headway.
If you tax inputs before production, It simply means that you are curtailing the capability of smallholder farmers to make whatever modest contributions they make in this sector to be able to generate more output. So that is the simple argument. It was straightforward. We are happy that we were able to mobilize these 1 million signatures, in fact in excess of 1 million signatures through the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, and Parliament listened to this plea. Parliament listened to smallholder farmers that we mobilized and rejected those proposed taxes on agriculture.
PFA brought us closer to policy-making processes. Before PFA, we would talk to members of parliament around the corners. Before PFA, nobody knew CS-BAG as a coalition of organizations that engages in the budget processes. Right now, if you go to Ministry of Finance, the CS-BAG is written everywhere because we are on the table on the key decision-making bodies in the Ministry of Finance.
ActionAid believes that empowering local farmers is key in curbing poverty at both household and national level. This will make Uganda the once food basket of Africa to regain her position as such.